I am absolutely interested in conquest. I'm interested in peacocking my feathers and being the best. I'm interested in showing off. I'm interested in alpha male high. Look at me. I have everything. I can do everything. Look at me. This is who I am. They say that this is all bad and toxic masculinity, but that's again just a massive psyop. The entire world was built off the back of toxic masculinity. Mike Tyson said it perfectly, didn't he? Everyone has a game plan until they're punched in the face. I would train as hard as I could possibly train. I'd be in the best shape I could possibly be, and I'd get in there with the intention of fucking him up. Sorry, I don't want to swear.
You're good.
With the intention of winning, right? Not enough people approach things in life with absolute tenacity. And if you approach anything in your life and you destroy the idea that you could possibly fail, which sounds easy, right? But you could do well. If a man told you he could rip your head off with his little finger and you could tell he really, really believed it, would you want him to try?
No.
You'd be like, that little, maybe. I don't know, this guy is way too convinced. You know what I'm saying? So if I had to fight John Jones, I don't care if I had to fight a mountain, I don't care if I had to fight a lion or an alien, whatever. If it's on, it's on. If it's on, then it's on. So I'm coming to win, I ain't coming to lose.
Exactly.
So that's how it goes.
It's a fighter spirit right there.
I've always been attached to the dark of the world. I feel like the dark of the world has always motivated me. So on the yin and the yang scale, I have a lot of light and I have so much beauty and I have a very blessed life.
Yeah.
But it is because I've been so deeply in the dark and understand the realities of how the world works. But that's just always been what motivated me. If I want to, once again, put it down to something asinine like buying a car, if I want to buy a Kernan's egg, I don't care about driving the car. I just want other people to not be able to have it. And I just want to be able to say, look, I can spend $6 million on WhatsApp in 10 minutes.
Who are these other people?
Other rich people who have to think about it or finance it or contemplate it.
Correct.
Or sell a house.
Right.
I just want to be able to like, bing, bing, took it, ha, ha, ha.
Instant gratification, impulsive, what?
I think it's just about the others losing. I think the world has tried very hard to breed this out of men, but I am unapologetic about it and I'm not afraid to admit it that I am absolutely interested in conquest. I'm interested in peacocking my feathers and being the best. I'm interested in showing off. I'm interested in alpha male high. Look at me. I have everything. I can do everything. Look at me. This is who I am. And they say that this is all bad and toxic masculinity, but that's again just a massive psyop. The entire world was built off the back of toxic masculinity. All the high buildings in Mumbai are built by men who want to prove themselves and say, look what I can do. I can literally go and build a building that's 100 stories high. You need an ego. And I'm ego-driven and ego-fueled, and I don't let it control me, but satisfying my ego makes me happy, and feeling pride makes me happy. The masculine ego has built the entire world. It's the reason nearly every single man ever went to war and conquered anything. The masculine ego, in fact, it's very interesting. I was talking to a girl the other day. I was saying that men crave adventure more than women. She was saying, oh no, I like adventure. I don't just want to sit at home. I like to go out and explore things, go to restaurants, etc. I said, no. What you like to do is run around, go into restaurants and going shopping. You call that an adventure. Masculine adventure is the men who decided to go to Antarctica and freeze to death. There's no shopping, there's no sushi. They just felt like they had to do it to satisfy their ego and to place their names in the history books.
True.
So there's something inside of every man that feels that, and they try and breed it out of men because they're afraid of that masculine spirit, because that masculine spirit is hard to conquer and they want to conquer us all. But I have no problems admitting that I am motivated by the dark of the yin and the yang, and I have no problems admitting that my ego motivates me and that I'm motivated by pride and I like to feel proud and I do things that allow me to feel proud. And as long as I stay realistic and I don't become egocentric, then I feel like it makes me as competitive as possible.
You had a very, very hard lifestyle, man. I mean, you actually went and bought fish, I remember, like 7 a.m. in the morning till 5 p.m.
Yeah, when I was 15, my first job was carrying boxes of fish from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. And I would run to work. So I'd leave the house at 6, I'd run an hour, I'd get there at 7, I'd finish work at 5, and then I'd run from there to the fight gym, get to the fight gym. I'd get there early before training started. I'd eat food next to the gym, and then I'd train, and then I would get a ride home from my girlfriend at the time. So my entire life was 17 hours a day of just running and working and carrying boxes and fighting. And I can't be more thankful. You know, I don't want to be arrogant, but I'm going to. I really do believe I've had the perfect life. Now, I don't know if that's actually because I have the perfect life or if I framed it that way, but I am so thankful for everything. I am so glad I got to grow up poor because I wouldn't appreciate money if I didn't. And I'm so glad I got to spend my 20s, that decade where you're as powerful as possible fighting, And I'm so glad I've had difficult jobs and no money. And I'm so glad I couldn't pay my bills so that I appreciate now all the money I have. And I'm so glad I had the parents I had. And I'm so glad all these bad things happened to me, but enough good things happened. And I just really feel like it's been the perfect path. And I think back on that job, I think back on how my life was back then, and I realized that I wouldn't appreciate any of the things I have now without them. There's absolutely no light without dark. The best thing about being rich is talking about how you used to be poor. Otherwise, it's no point being rich at all. You're not going to enjoy any of it. You're going to end up addicted to drugs and doing crazy stuff, right?
Yep.
The reason I'm so happy, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm happy every day, I'm pretty emotionally balanced, is because I wake up in a big ass house and I realize that I don't have to worry about rent the next day and everything's fine. So I think being rich is as good as I imagined it to be when I was poor. And I truly enjoy it, but I would have never appreciated the money if I didn't have the poor side.
And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, here's a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose.
You need to be cutting edge in all things and you need to be first in all things. If you're first, it's often very hard to lose. If you were the first person to the gold mine, even if you were lazy and you had a shovel and you didn't like the sun very much because you got sunburned, you'd still find some gold. But if you're the last guy, you've now got to dig harder, you got to work harder, you got to do longer hours, all the low-hanging fruit is gone. Most people at home don't understand if they were to just join Hustlers University and pay attention and go through the lessons, you could make a fortune off the low-hanging fruit. You can make a fortune off all the apples that are easy to pick. You don't need to go to the top of the tree. That's for the person who came last and all the bottom apples are gone. So I don't want to be elitist, but often I do find myself when I see people who say, oh, I really tried, and I know they haven't really tried.
Do you resent them? Do you resent people like that?
I don't think I resent them as long as they're not too close to me. I don't want them in my circle. I can't have anyone who's in my house.
They drain your energy, right?
Yeah, because they steal your energy. Anyone who's near me who said, I tried and I messed it up, has to go. Because I don't like that negative energy around me because it's sticky. But if I'm out there in life and I'm meeting someone who I barely know and they're telling me how they tried and they failed, partially, like I said, I don't want to be elitist, but part of me makes me feel happy about that. There's no winners without losers. I have no problem seeing losers lose. I'm not a philanthropist. I'm here to help the people who want to help themselves. If you want to stay a loser, I have absolutely no problems with you staying a loser, staying depressed, working in Starbucks. That's fine with me for eternity. I have no problem. I'll drive past the Starbucks in my Lamborghini and I'll look in and I'll see you standing there with your little, I'm a barista with your name tag. And you can stay there and be it doesn't bother me. In fact, I very much enjoy it. Like, I doubt I'd be invited, but if my high school were to have a reunion, for example, I would absolutely love to travel with my Bugatti and my armed cars. And, oh, what did you do? You do that? Very interesting. And
bro, we've actually done that, right?
Yeah.
We've all done that.
Of course, but this is what the masculine essence is. This is why I say they try and train it out of you. They say you're insecure to act that way, or why does he have a fast car? He's small, and all this garbage. No, but it's all a psyop. There's nothing insecure about wanting to be the king, proving you're the king, not being deluded, but proving it with real world achievements and walking through life saying, yeah, I'm the man, I'm top G, that's who I am. I earn it, every single piece of it, head to toe, whether it's the physicality or the finances, none of it was given to me. I did it all myself. I'm top G now. Here are all my wives. They all adore me. Ha ha ha. You can't do it. Ha ha ha. That's what life's about, waking up and saying, ha ha ha. My life is one big ha ha ha. And the greatest thing about it is, even if I go to jail, even if something bad happens to me, because I have the ability to communicate, because I have the ability to tell the story, because I'll be non-emotional about it and not affected, because I'll remember it, it will just be another ha 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 in the end. You could put me in Mongolian jail for a year and I'll come out and all my haters will be like, ha ha ha, you went to jail. I'm like, no, ha ha for you. So I'm about to tell the story and get a Netflix deal, sir.
Right.
So I still win. I always win. I'll reframe it anyway. So that's what life as a man should be. You should be able to wake up every day and say ha 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 to all the people who don't like you.
I really do believe I am still old school I believe I am a man of my word. And I don't say that like other people say that. I mean, I'm genuinely a man of my word. When my father raised me, because I grew up in a poor family, my father was a chess grandmaster, but there's not much money in chess. And my dad loved booze, gambling, and women, right? So the money was out the door. So I grew up poor. And he said, listen, son,
Only thing I need to give you is your last name. You ain't getting no inheritance. My dad died with $11 in his pocket. Done. You're not getting no inheritance. I'm not giving you no money. I'm giving you your last name, and that's all you need. You're a Tate, right? When I was in school, I remember the SATs. I think it's the SATs. What did you do in 6th grade or something? I did the SATs in 6th grade, and they wanted to move me up 2 grades because I did so fantastically. And I came home to Dad and said, "Hey, Dad, I got 99.9% right. They'll move me up 2 grades." And he goes, "You're a Tate, of course." It's like whatever. Like the achievement to the average man is nothing. We're Tates, right? So I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of my name. If I'm going to sit and tell you, and all you people out here, I don't know you. If I tell you something, it's the truth.
And let me say this real quick.
I stand by that. So anyone who's going to come to me and say, "Oh, Tate, he's full of it," your name isn't worth anything. My name's worth something. I've worked for my name. I've risked my life in the cage for my name. Your name isn't worth a f***ing thing. So don't talk to me about what honesty is.
Do you keep upskilling yourself?
Well, you have to always push the limits, right? What's the point in living otherwise?
What are you doing right now to just keep yourself up?
Well, this is the thing. It's in general. It doesn't matter if you go to the gym and you try and lift more weights. It doesn't matter if you try and make more money that you can't possibly spend.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you need more beautiful children. Yeah. You always need something to do, right? And you always need somewhere to push. They say when you retire, you die. I would argue that's probably true. Or sharks die.
No, that's true. That is true.
Of course it's true. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of men out there who perhaps are battling with themselves because the matrix and system has told them, no, you're not supposed to think that way. You're not supposed to be that way. You're egotistical. You're driven by pride. You should get rid of all that. And you should, I don't know what, become soppy goo instead. Just some porridge mess that the matrix can program. But no, you're supposed to wake up and look in the mirror and say, this is my name. This is who I am. I'm going to be the best version of myself. And everybody's going to respect me. And I'm going to force them to, because that's the way the world works. Respect can be squeezed out of people. They don't have to like you. You can't squeeze someone liking you. You can't grab space-time from the universe and force everybody to like you. But you can force everybody to respect you, whether they want to or not. All of my haters respect me. They sit there, this guy's so bad, so bad, so bad. But they can't say I'm unsuccessful. They can't say I'm not intelligent. They can't say I'm not rich. I'm still worthy of all their time and attention. They've dedicated their lives to me, so I've forced them to respect me. If I was a nobody, then they wouldn't be reporting on this garbage case of mine. So you can force respect from people, and this is actually most observable with women. There's a whole lot of women who are dating men they don't even like.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping with men they don't even like, but they respect him.
Because it's the security that they offer, right?
That's right. The security they offer and the respect. And they can say, I don't even like him that much. In fact, I hate him, but I just do as he says. Why is that? Because they respect you. So I'm driven by that. And I guess, I've talked to psychiatrists, and there's some psychiatrists who would argue that it's insecurity to feel like you need to prove yourself to the world all the time. And I think that's part of the psyop. They convince you. You're insecure if you want to prove you're capable. If you want to prove that you're different and intelligent and interesting, you're insecure.
They always say that you're born abundant any which ways, then why is the rest of the world poor?
Well, there you go. Yeah. But they say you should have no interest in what people think about you. That makes you insecure. And that is the largest psyop in history. To wake up and say, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to be interesting. I'm not going to go out there and test myself. And I'm not going to put honor on my last name, because I would hate for people to think I'm insecure. I'm secure. So it doesn't matter if you think I'm a loser. And it doesn't matter if I am a loser. So I'm just going to sit at home and I'm secure. No, it's not insecurity. It's called duty to your last name and honor. And that's just another one of the many different tentacles inside of the psyop octopus, trying to snatch any motivation left from the masculine spirit. If I was a man who was unsuccessful and I hadn't met my physical capability or my financial capability or my mental capability or my spiritual capability, I would be insecure. I would sit and say, this is a failed version of who Andrew Tate could be, and I'm not happy with who it is. And I think that every man should be like that, so he gets up off his ass and does something.
Let me see. Dude, how do you have so much energy? How?
Because I don't waste my life force. I haven't been to any stupid concerts. I don't take any stupid drugs. I'm not smoking weed like an idiot. I'm not cheering for a sports team. All of my life force is inside of me, so I can master the 7 styles of Aikido and tell the conservatives they're fucking dorks.
Nerds.
That's why. They're all nerds. They're nerds. I'm full of life force. I'm the man who will struggle to the end. I'm that guy. If an alligator were to get hold of me, not only would I snap its neck, but let's imagine 20 alligators got hold of me and they got lucky and somehow managed to decimate me until the last second where I lost consciousness. I would be snapping necks of alligators. To the last second, I refuse to die. I'm that guy. I don't waste an ounce of my life force on anything that's unimportant. Ever. So I refuse to be distracted. The Matrix wants to distract me.
They've identified me. They're like, Andrew Tate is a threat. He's full of power and he believes in God and he's a slick talker and he motivates people and he has a bunch of money and he's big and strong and tall and handsome and charming and interesting. He's got a Long Johnson. We have to distract this man. We have to give him something he's interested in outside of fighting the Matrix. And they're trying to come at me with all these beauty queens and these sponsorship contracts and I'm resisting it all. No, I have a mission and I'm on the mission. We're talking to the people. We must be animated. We have a job to do. We must let the people at home know that enslavement's coming for their entire life and their bloodline unless they resist. Stop watching the fucking Super Bowl. Stop going to stupid concerts and instead be motivated about your family's future. Somebody said to me before, they lack energy and they lack motivation. And I said, nobody lacks energy and motivation. You just focus it in the wrong directions. I would guarantee if you find a person who lacks energy and motivation, he's trying to get girls all day, he's messaging girls on Instagram all day who ignore him. I guarantee he gets road rage when somebody cuts him up. No, you get angry and you have energy and you have motivation when somebody pulls in front of you in traffic or when you see some on Instagram, but you don't have motivation to do anything else. You don't lack energy and motivation. It's pointing in the wrong direction. And it's the same with these sports teams. If everybody cared about their country, like they care about these stupid fucking sports teams, then or cared about their family, then the world would be fixed. But they're distracted. We all have an innate energy inside of us. We all have a life force, and most people are just directing it in the wrong direction completely. And that's why we're getting decimated in real time. The Matrix has come along and it's distracted us all with bread and circuses, and I refuse to do it. I refuse to sign up to things that don't directly benefit my life or benefit the future for my children. I don't think if a sports team wins, it's going to benefit the future for my children. And I don't think if I jump up and down like a ketamine-taking peasant in a concert, it's going to benefit my children. But I do think if I allow the world to see truth, if I try and speak up against the enslavement of humanity, that it's going to benefit my children in the future. So why would I waste my life force on anything else? I think people are just permanently distracted. I always knew the answer to everything is raw action.
Yeah.
The answer to everything has always been raw action. My dad had a tweet about this. He said that raw action solves all. And he used to say this. I'll give you an example. If you're a farmer and you need rain for your crop and there's no rain, you can sit there and say there's no rain, we're all gonna starve. Or you can stand up and do a rain dance. Now, will your rain dance work? Perhaps not. Perhaps the rain won't come. But I would argue that you're better off standing up doing that rain dance than just sitting there waiting to die. You have to do something. Raw action solves. So when I was broke, I was never like, I'm poor, what do I do? It was, I'm poor, I have to do something. If I was broke, I'd go for a run. That's why I was such a great fighter. If I was broke, I'd sit there and go, I'm actually poor. How do I make money? Dunno. Where can I get some cash? Dunno. What work can I do? Dunno. I'll just go for a run then. And I just go for 3-mile run or go hit the punch bag and get better.
This resonates so deeply, man. This is exactly what I did.
That's exactly. You just have to say, well, I have to do something. I can't just sit still and die. A lot of people are happy to just sit still and die or go off and go to sleep and take a nap. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you can say a loser. That's fine. I'm glad there are losers because if everyone had Lamborghinis, my Lamborghini wouldn't be fun to show off. I need you to look at it and feel the deep pain in your heart of regret and failure. That's the whole point of it. I need to drive my Bugatti and everyone be looking at it going, I'll never have one of those. And I can get all their energy and feel it all, and it makes me happy. Fantastic. So you can sit at home and do nothing. But when I was poor, I had to go for a run. I couldn't sit still or lift weights or do something. I couldn't even sleep. So raw action solves everything. And I understood that at a young age. But as you get older, you get to look back and you get to put your whole story together, the whole tapestry together. I knew I wouldn't stay poor. Did I ever think I'd get this rich? Well, I never said I wouldn't, but did I ever think it would probably happen at this level? No, but it's amazing how the compounding interest of just endless raw action adds up. I've never had a lazy day. I've never skipped work, never missed an email, never had a day off, ever. You name if you were to go through the last 3 years of my life, you will see that there's never been a day where I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And it all just adds up, and then monumental success comes, and you get to laugh at everybody else, ha ha ha, and life's great. But I really believe God's given me one of the best lives, and I can't complain about anything bad that's happened to me. It's all been fantastic. I'm truly thankful for all of it.
Do you practice gratitude every day?
But I don't have to practice it because I'm actually truly thankful for all the bad things that happened.
That's beautiful.
I truly am like, thank you, God, for that difficult time.
You created that belief before you had all of this stuff or after you began to receive all of this stuff?
I think if a couple bad things happen to you, you should be intelligent enough to realize that eventually you're going to get over it and you're going to learn an important lesson. It's going to change you in the correct direction, and Allah is the best of planners, and he knows what you need to learn. I think that as humans, especially as men, we only learn the hard way anyway. There's two ways to learn a lesson, the hard way and the hardest way. There's no easy way to learn a lesson. You have to learn the hard way. So God gives us lessons via difficulty. He thinks you need to learn this about yourself or this about other people. So I'm going to give you a difficult time so you can learn your lesson. Because if I told you, if I just said, hey, Andrew, this is how the world works, you go, yeah. But when I show you, when you feel it, my fight coach used to say, you have to feel it to believe it. That's why if he was teaching low kicks, he'd kick your leg off. Because you don't believe in the power of a low kick. You don't believe a low kick can be so devastating unless you've felt it. You have to feel it to believe it. So God will give you a difficult time so you learn your lessons. And the lessons are very important for you to be the person who you need to be in this life. He's the best of planners, and I'm thankful for all the lessons he's given me. He's bestowed knowledge upon me. How could I not be grateful to God for making me so intelligent and wise and the ability to look into things so deeply and come up to the right decision and basically predict the future perfectly? How did I know they were all going to arrest me? How did I know how the world works? You have to have difficulty happening to you all the time. So when you sit and say, I want an easy life, what you're saying is you're a dummy and you want to be a dummy. You want to stay a dummy. I want an easy life. And I don't want anything bad to happen to me because even though it will teach me lessons, I'm too big of I can't handle the emotional pain. I can't handle the stress. So you want to stay a dumbass. I don't want to be a dummy. I want to be smart. If I want to be smart, then hurt me. Every single man watching this knows that women want fighters. Every single man watching this would love to be able to say he's a fighter. But 99% of the men watching this will not go fight because they are afraid. They're all cowards. They're cowards. It's literally mind-blowing to me, the level of cowardice we're forced to endure. I think that God teaches you through pain and suffering. Every single time you suffer pain, you're learning a lesson. And to be honest with you, I don't think men learn lessons any other way. I don't think we are capable of learning lessons without pain. I can give you a bunch of examples. How many times has your girl said, stop cheating on me or I'm gonna leave? Yeah. You're like, yeah. And you keep cheating. And then she leaves, you're like, damn, don't leave.
She actually did it.
You only learn the hard way. That's men. So that's why God teaches us the hard way. So for you to have value, for you to have wisdom, for you to be able to give lessons, you need to have a very difficult life. The reason people listen to me talk is because my life's been good and bad. Mm-hmm. If I was only good, if I was only sitting here talking about what watches I can buy, nobody would care.
Yeah.
For the longest period of human time, for a man to be respected, for him to even be admired by society on any level, to some degree, he had to be a warrior. That's what men did, we fought.
Right.
That's what men did, we fought. So if you're out here as a man and you have no battle in your life, no conquest in your life, no form of war in your life, then what are you doing? And it doesn't have to be physical. Physical is the best example of it. Every woman wants a boxer or a cage fighter. Of course you do. So every woman wants a boxer or a cage fighter, but this is the testament to the problem of the modern world, right?
Right.
Every single man watching this knows that women want fighters. Every single man watching this would love to be able to say he's a fighter, but 99% of the men watching this will not go fight because they are afraid. They're all cowards. They'll make up every excuse under the sun. Oh, it's busy with my Bitcoin. Oh, You're all a bunch of They are all of them. That's all they are. And women can smell that. So if you want to have a woman who truly respects you, you need to put yourself through war in some form. Now, what most men do is they avoid physical confrontation because they're cowards, and they start doing physical confrontation. This is why men are so obsessed with money, because it's a degree of conquest. We can no longer walk the earth and conquer land, right? It's not like the olden days where we could just walk around as the Romans and just chop somebody up and take their land. So now we conquer the land financially. This is why men will work so hard to be a CEO and give up his whole life just to be a CEO, because then he gets to feel like he's conquering something. Men have that innate desire for conquest. So that's the second best thing, I guess, is to get rich. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be rich, certainly not. But if someone were to say to me, look, you have to build the archetype of an individual, you have to build a man from the ground up, and he has to be respected by both men and women, he'd be a dude getting in the cage, kicking the shit out of people. And every man knows this, and every man can do it. But they're all just we suffer from modern society, and all of its problems suffers from the fact that we are plagued by monumental cowardice amongst the male population. All men are cowards. They're cowards. It's literally mind-blowing to me, the level of cowardice we're forced to endure. Everyone's I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. Yeah.
And someone goes, oh, but I want to be happy. Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid.
Finished.
It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important. Provide, protect, and we're also here to do important things. And important things are going to be difficult, and they're going to be hard, and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. I don't see anyone who's chasing happiness. I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Girls just want to have fun. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain.
Yeah.
I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. That's so I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? And look at history. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and want to conquer the whole world? Why did Napoleon conquer the world? Why did Alexander the Great conquer the world? You just wake up and just say, give me this, give me that. I want all of it. I need to, there's an army there. They're really big. We're better. It's intrinsic.
Yeah.
You need to go and conquer. That's the purpose of life.
Yeah, but why do you think that we were created here to do you believe that God created us? So why did God create us to struggle? What is it?
Because if you don't struggle, you don't learn.
Yeah.
God created us to learn and understand ourselves and understand other people and understand the world. And what did I say earlier? I said that you don't learn a lesson or you don't appreciate something without pain. So you have to struggle to learn anything. There's only two ways to learn things, the hard way or the harder way. If you're smart, you can learn the hard way. But in my experience, 99% of the planet only learn the hardest possible way. If the lesson's even 85% effective, they'll make the same mistake. It's only when they completely decimate and destroy an element of their life do they sit there and go, oops, now I get it.
No.
That's how it goes.
And this is the thing about the market now. It's getting to the world where it's getting more polarizing. It's getting easier for women. It's getting extremely difficult for men. And if you still want to be a player in the world today, you have to up your game as a man.
Facts.
You have to.
There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people I barely sleep and I never not work and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, but work on what? I don't know what to work on. Bro, you need 10 passports, you need 25 bank accounts, you need shell companies, you need a trust fund, you need to make some money, you then need to move that money away, you need multiple places to live, you need a place for your children to live, they need a trust fund, you have stuff to do.
Yep.
And the people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind-boggling to me. And I guess if you sit around and do nothing, maybe you won't be successful, but if you're lucky enough to pull something off and make a little bit of money and you get too large, but you haven't done the groundwork, then you get wrecked the other way. They want people inside of their slave containers. They want everyone in the middle. I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself and I've been through so many things that were difficult and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? Yeah. I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a and now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for these people. And because as a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up, just like a video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I built. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself. So I deserve all the spoils of war. And anybody who decides they don't want to work hard enough to become those things, then they deserve to sit and accept they're my inferior. Yeah. That's their problem. I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters. So Justin just absolutely and utterly nailed it. My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, say, what do you hate the most? And I say, I hate running. I say, okay, you're going running. I say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. Whatever you hate is what you need. I wanted to spar, bag work, pads, no problem. Running, I didn't want to run, but that's what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time. You know, and if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy. There's pain to become important, and there's pain in not being important. So you have to make a choice. So I think Justin absolutely utterly nailed it. I think his answer is even better than mine could be. You need to find something you're afraid of, find something that could hurt you, and go do it. And that's one of the great things about being young, right? You're basically superhuman.
Yeah.
All of us are our age. We're all in our 30s. I remember when I was 21. Bro, I
Run through a wall.
Bro, I could drink all night.
Yep.
I run 20 miles.
Fight all
you couldn't
day.
hurt me. Like I had Wolverine-like healing abilities, and this is actually one of the problems with the world today. I noticed the internet's up because we have all these youngsters who have a voice. They all think they know something on Twitter and on the internet. These kids, right? When I was 23, 22, I didn't know shit. I'm 35 now. I'm one of the smartest men on the planet. And when I was 23, I didn't know shit. When you're 35, you're definitely going to still be a dumbass. So when you're 23, like you are now, you don't know anything. Your only attribute is the fact you have Wolverine-like healing abilities and you're not using it. Stop talking, start listening, get out there, get hurt, get the back up. There is a degree of wisdom that comes from physicality. I learned a whole bunch of shit about the world from just having my ass kicked. It wasn't even conversations. It was just getting beaten up. And you learn about the world from I write tweets and they're like, that's so wise. Where'd you learn that? I was like, oh, kicked in the face. That's how.
Beauty lies on top of the mountain, my friends. You have to climb it. You have to get all the way up there to see the peak and its amazing view. Let me tell you something. I'm happy because all I've done is suffer. That's all I've ever done is suffer. This is how I got here. Suffer. My life's been nothing but suffering and trauma. That's how I got here. That's why my worldview is so brilliant. That's how I can wake up, and as long as no one has a gun to my head, I am happy because I have suffered. You, ladies and gentlemen, haven't suffered enough. And if you haven't suffered, you're never going to be happy. Happiness lies atop a mountain. If it's just laying all over the floor and anyone can pick it up, it has no value. People's entire mental model is skewed. You're a crypto guy, right? You believe in NFTs. NFTs, the whole point of them is that there's one. It's the scarcity that provides the value. If things are not scarce, there's no value to it.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's financial. It doesn't matter if it's even a good body, right? The fact that a guy has big arms, the reason that has value is because it's rare. If every dude naturally had big arms by default, it wouldn't have a value. So you're talking about happiness as if it should just be laid all over the floor. If everyone could pick up happiness without trying, you still wouldn't be happy because it wouldn't have value, and you'd be aiming for you'd be looking for a new attention of happiness. You'd be looking for something else. You just raised the paradigm. And people who are out here trying to find happiness without trauma and suffering, those are the guys who get addicted to drugs, alcohol, all this crap. But you're trying to find temporary happiness. You're going to find happiness through pain. That's where happiness comes from as a man. And I know you say you take some of my advice, etc., etc.
I love male advice.
Yeah, perfect. But it's the struggle that adds the value to things. The reason I'm going to love my cars so much is because I had nothing. And now I have them.
Walked 9 miles.
I walked 9 miles. Now I get to do it in a Lambo. It's beautiful. If I was born into money and was just given a Lambo for my birthday, I wouldn't even appreciate it. Yeah. That's the reality. So most of you men out here don't even deserve happiness. You come to me talking about happiness you don't deserve. And you know you don't deserve it because you're a coward and you're lazy and you're weak. You don't deserve happiness. It's good you're unhappy. That's your own mind telling you you need to do more. Because if you were genuinely making an impact on the world and exerting your entire masculine force out into the universe, if you were genuinely doing that, you'd find happiness. So if you're sitting there feeling depressed, it's because you know you're lazy. You know you're not working very hard. And the whole people, especially men, if you have this paradigm in your mind that you should just be happy by default without trying, without working, without any kind of struggle, without any negatives in your life, and you're just going to be a happy person and you're always just going to be laughing and giggling in the top 1%, that's asinine. It's not real. And it's a stupid mentality to have. I don't care how happy you are. You have work to do. If any man comes to me and he's looking for guidance, I say, I don't really care how happy you are because you're fat. You got work to do. Come talk to me when you have a six-pack. Otherwise, I don't care. You have too much to get done to be talking about happiness.
A man has to have tenacity and go through struggles and days where you're like, I can't do this anymore, but still pop your head up the next day and be like, all right, Let me get back in the gym.
I say this.
Tenacity.
I say this all the time. I say the best things that ever happened to me are the worst things that ever happened to me. All the trauma and bullshit I've been through in my life are the best things that ever happened to me. Because as a man, if you've not had a difficult life, you cannot be good at being a man. Being a good man and being good at being a man, they're two slightly different things. But to be good at being a man, you need to have been through so much shit that when the Matrix deletes your entire life from the internet and starts lying about you at mass, and people start doing protests wanting you hung, and they're looking for your family members, and reporters start calling every ex-girlfriend you've ever had, trying to convince them and bribe them to lie, to come out and say you're something you're not. When they're genuinely out to put you in jail, that you can sit there and be focused and stoic enough to go, you know what? Okay, what's the chessboard? What's going to happen? Who's trying to shoot me right now? Nobody. Okay, so it's better than it was a couple years ago. Okay, so X, Y, Z, and plan through it, right? You're never going to be capable as a man if you've not had trauma. The best men ever have had trauma. If you call a police officer, you need a brave police officer. He ain't going to be brave unless he's been through shit.
Yeah.
He's not going to be brave unless he's been through shit. So we also, as a society, sit and look at men and go, we want, well, there's two kinds of society. There's the matrix society, but the true society, the true women with a brain. They actually, I want a man who's strong, who's supportive, who's intelligent, who financially provides, etc. Then you're going to want a man to some degree who's been through some shit.
Yeah.
And a man who's internalized it and used it as a weapon. And this is what I say to people. People email me their long lists of all the bad things that happened to them, and I reply, fantastic. You are so lucky. You have all the building blocks to become the exact kind of man you want to be. If none of this shit happened to you, when something else bad happens to you later, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. Fantastic. And he goes, no, but you know, this. He replied again with more excuses and said, why are you making excuses? I just told you what happened to you is a good thing. You need to reframe your mind. Bad things happened to Batman. They killed his parents. Do you understand? That's why he's Batman. You've just told me you have the building blocks to become you might become top G when I retire. Fantastic. What are you complaining about? He goes, well, what do? I said, you need to work. Take all that trauma. If you're truly heartbroken, my friend, and we've all been there as men, if you're truly heartbroken, you can't sleep. That means you're going to get in fantastic shape. You better hit the gym. You have nothing else to do. Stop watching YouTube. Stop emailing me. I want pictures of you in the gym. Get fucking work. Heartbreak's a fantastic motivator, as is depression, as is sadness. Great. Look at what's pissing you off and make sure it never happens again. If you were jacked and rich as she probably wouldn't have left your ass. So get your shit together, right? So this is so important. Trauma is such an important part of being a man. And the Matrix talks of trying to say that trauma is terrible and avoid trauma, or if you get trauma, take a pill, and that's unrealistic. Trauma is going to happen to you, and you as a man need to internalize it, accept it, and weaponize it to become the best version of yourself you can be. And that requires mental strength and stoicism. And this idea of chasing happiness and always being concerned and preoccupied with how happy you are is actually the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, I think, in the world today. Especially men who wake up and go, oh, I don't really feel happy, so I need to get happier. And that's how they end up down a hedonistic path of drugs or alcohol or gambling, chasing pleasure. I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care. I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do, and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human, and that's life. And so am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke? Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then that I am now. I have work to do, and I will do it. It's as simple as that.
Damn, very well put. No, but you're right, definitely. I've heard like the chase for happiness, and the more you try to seek happiness, the more you enforce in yourself that you're not happy.
Well, also there's no light without dark, and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. Exactly. And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends, and you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child, and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. Mm-hmm. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness. As long as I am alive, which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate, but as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about,
as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world, then I'm a vessel of God and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do. I have things to do.
You're too busy to think about it.
I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
Right.
And when I speak to men, they say I'm unhappy or I need to be happier. I think that's absolutely the wrong frame of life. You're a man, you have duty, you have honor, you have things you should be doing regardless of how you feel. And the people who are perma-obsessed with happiness or sadness, I just think it's the wrong paradigm to view the lens of life. I think you should get up and do what needs to be done.
There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you could possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important, because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never gonna get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon, and say it's going to take you right to the treasure. It's going to be a 7-day journey.
But
here's a sandwich.
Yeah.
And halfway through they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah, you just said that, 7 days, nah.
Yeah, and they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're gonna get it.
You're gonna find a way to
You're
get
gonna
it.
find a way.
Yeah.
People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast recently, and he was saying if someone had a gun to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm gonna move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are gonna make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're gonna be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm going through a breakup, bro. It's hard, bro. You yourself even know heartbreak hurts.
Heartbreak does hurt.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Heartbreak hurts.
Okay, so come on.
Why do you think she left you?
No, it was mutual.
Why do you think she left you?
Listen, people outgrow each other, bro. People, sometimes in life, they don't work out, and that's just how life is, bro. You gotta understand and respect that. You know what I mean?
That's what girls say when they're f***ing someone else.
If you're a man who has their heart broken, a lot of them are so stupid that they may revert to the mindset that you've said. They may say, I don't want to have my heart broken again, but they haven't sat there and said, why did this happen? You have to know the why to prevent it from happening. You have to analyze the scenario and learn from it. One thing I'll say about women that's fantastic, one of the best things women are one of the things women are best at is they're a fantastic mirror. Women are a reflection. If you have any weakness inside of you, or if you have any downfalls as a person, a woman's gonna show you who they are. If you're too emotional, if you're too easy to get angry, she'll teach you that. She'll teach you that you can get angry too fast. Piss her off. If you're small, she'll tell you. she'll tell you exactly what is wrong with you when she is mad. She'll sit there and say, you got a short leg and your haircut shit. Get a new haircut. I hate your ugly ass. They'll tell you exactly what is wrong with you. When you look at your bad or your previous relationships with women that went wrong, you can sit there and go, okay, this all went wrong. What has she taught me? She taught me that I'm emotionally affectable. She taught me that if she ignores me, she gets more attention than if she's nice to me. She taught me, you have to sit there and analyze all the lessons and you have to implement them. It's the same with absolutely everything. But women are a fantastic mirror. A lot of these guys who resort to that are men who don't have the self-reflection to sit and say, okay, why did this happen? As a man, you have to be accountable for absolutely everything. Every single thing that happens is your fault. I didn't go to jail because of Romania. When I was in jail, it was my fault. even though I don't believe it was just, even though I do not believe it was fair, even though I know I am innocent, it is my fault because I didn't have to become so influential. I did it. But it's also my fault when I'm on the jet and living my perfect life. I did that. I did the good, I did the bad. You made her leave you. You did. Whether you like it or not, you are the reason she became so cold. You are the reason she doesn't listen anymore. You are the reason she's so arrogant all of a sudden.
100%.
You are. You may not have identified why yet, but if you identify why, then you get into your next relationship healed and understanding what you did wrong and learn from it. That's what you have to do. But most of these men don't want the self-accountability.
I love that.
And they want to blame the women. You have to blame yourself. I know exactly now how to keep a woman happy. So I ain't got nothing to worry about. I've learned my lessons. I know exactly how to keep a woman happy. I know when to set a boundary, when to be nice. I know exactly what to do because I've self-analyzed. A lot of these red pill guys, they want to do exactly like you said, just run around and just chicks because they've never looked in the mirror and go, why do these chicks not want to just love me? Why am I a fuck up? You're not perfect. God is perfect. Nobody is perfect. You need to analyze yourself. And the truth is, as a man, a woman doesn't even have to like you. She doesn't even have to love you, but if she respects you, she's always going to be around. And this is why if I love a woman with all my heart and she goes, I want to leave, the first thing I'm going to say is, pack. Because if I say anything else, she's not going to respect me. Like if I, oh, please stay, I'll say, look, I don't want you to leave. I would like you to stay, but if you're going to talk shit and threaten me, you get the fuck out of my house. Like I've had women leave me, but I've never had a woman not respect me. And that's why I can hit up any ex I've ever had, and I know they'll reply. Because they respect me on a base level. So why do they respect me? Because I respect myself. So I will never sacrifice my self-respect. I guess that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if I love you. My self-respect has to come first. And that's good for me, and it's good for you. Because if I sacrifice my self-respect, you wouldn't love me anymore either, bitch. So that's just how it's gonna be. That's just how I view the self, because that's how I view the world. It's how I always am. You know, you have to a degree, put yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to be like all about you. No one else is going to fix your life. I really don't believe no one else is going to make your life fantastic but you. You have to be all about you. And so many of these guys who get hurt, because I really believe guys get hurt more than women nowadays. This idea that men hurt women and break women's hearts. Okay, maybe I've broken a few. But besides the elite players like me, most of the time it's the women fucking the guys over. I really believe that. And a lot of the times they're getting screwed up is because they've tied their identity so intricately with this girl that they've lost their sense of self. You lose your sense of self, you can't have self-respect. And that's why she doesn't respect you anyway, and that's why it's all going downhill, and that's why you lose her and you panic and blah, blah, blah. You've got to be about yourself first. She has to be a compliment. So yeah, I've had my heart broken in regards to, I've had times women have left and I've really, really missed her. But I have never texted her first, ever.
What did you do with the pain of the heartbreak?
I did the same thing I do if my heart wasn't broken. I got up, I went in the gym, I lifted a bunch of weights, I got in my fast car, I drove down the road looking sexy as f***, bought a Starbucks, and made some money. It doesn't matter. How I feel has no bearing on how I live my life.
What are you doing?
I'm going through a breakup, bro. It's hard, bro. Stop being so hard on me. Damn, dude. You yourself even know heartbreak hurts.
Heartbreak does hurt.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Heartbreak hurts.
Okay, so come on. Bear with me a little bit, bro.
How long ago did you break up?
About a month or two ago.
Why do you think she left you?
No, it was mutual.
Why do you think she left you?
It was mutual. Listen, people outgrow each other, bro. People, sometimes in life, they don't work out, and that's just how life is, bro. You gotta understand and respect that. You know what I mean?
That's what girls say when they're f***ing someone else. People outgrow each other. It's not you, it's me. You know what? You're a really good friend. I don't see you that way. Once they have a new to gobble on, that's usually what happens. So who does she? Do you know yet? Did you even find out?
No, and I don't think she is f***ing anyone.
Oh yeah, she left you to be by herself. She left you to sit at home alone and watch TV. Yeah, 100%. 100% that's why she left you, G. She left you because she just really wanted to sit at home by herself, not to run around with some other dude. You're totally right. She's a good person. She's different than all the rest. Completely agree. She ain't f***ing nobody. Don't worry, you can sleep just fine at night. Maybe you should text her when you're lonely. Send her a text. She might text back this time. She's definitely not with some dude. You know all those other times she didn't reply? She was tired. She was asleep. Don't worry about it. This time she might text back. Miss you too. Wish we could have worked out. There's not some dude like me sitting next to her laughing at your messages.
Bro, you're a weird as She made an OnlyFans yesterday.
She's been doing a lot more than that, G. I don't know why you're worried about a website. OnlyFans. That's a website. Don't worry about that. She's been up to a lot more.
No,
how many times she not replied to you at night? How many times she been asleep by 9 p.m.?
She's different, bro. She's different.
She's different. Yeah. She's super different, bro. 100%. She's so different. You know your problem? If I split up with a girl, I sit there and understand that females don't like to downgrade. And I say, okay, she now has to meet another man with hundreds of millions of dollars who's an ex-athlete or kickboxing world champion who's strong and smart and interesting and funny and the most famous martyr of earth for trying to crack the matrix. There's no competition. But your problem is you're so normal. Yeah, you have a Twitch stream. Who gives a shit? You look like Joe Schmo. You act like Joe Schmo. You do Joe Schmo shit. So if she'll a man like you, she'll basically anybody. And that means that she can get a guy from KFC or Starbucks or some other random Twitch clown, and you can get replaced so quick. That's what your problem is. I don't have that problem. You do. So if you think you're so special, Aiden, that throughout all these months she couldn't find some other guy in terrible shape who drinks soy lattes with enough money to afford a shitty apartment in LA, then you are out of your mind. Because I guarantee she could. And has. So weird. And it's done.
You're weird as Okay, listen, bro. Whatever.
I'm not weird. I tell you the truth.
You are, bro.
What's weird about the truth? The truth is beautiful. You must accept and embrace it. You must look in the mirror and accept that I am right. And you need to become a formidable force of man that cannot be replaced or replicated anywhere else on God's green earth. That's what you must do. You are failing yourself and God. That's why she left you, Aiden. That's why she left you.
That's why. Because I failed God. I'm
correct.
God.
You're failing God. If you were the best version of yourself and you were waking up every day trying your absolute best to be a unique and special individual, then you would not be failing God any longer and he would not plague you with this bad luck. Now you're sitting here upset over some bitch who has replaced you and you deserve it.
So what do I do, Andrew?
I've told you what to do. I've told you what to do since we've ever started fucking talking. I told you to become a man of substance. I said, come here and I will train you. I will turn you into an animal, a predator, a monster. Yeah. Maybe later. Soy latte, please, from Starbucks. You're a f*** up, Aiden. You're a f*** up.
Well, emotions are feedback. The idea that men don't feel emotions is incorrect. We feel emotions. I would actually argue we feel emotions with certain emotions stronger than women. I would argue that we feel heartbreak stronger than women. I would argue we feel anger like a woman could never understand. I would argue we are extremely emotional.
Rage.
Pure rage. Well, it's feedback. So when you get the feedback, it's all about how you internalize it and how you process it, right? It's having, stoicism's not feeling emotions. It's feeling the emotion and going, okay, why is this happening? How much does this really matter? What's the most intelligent move on the chessboard? Chess is a fantastic game because in the game of chess, there's no luck. If you lose, no matter how well you played, if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. Even if it is the most minor mistake, you made a mistake. So you learn to understand that no matter what happens to you, if you lose a scenario, you made a mistake. Maybe it's a tiny one, maybe it was 2 years ago, whatever, but you made a mistake and you learn absolute and utter accountability for yourself. And that mentality is extremely powerful to apply to all things in life. The position I'm in now as the most hated man in the world, although I agree and I truly believe it's unfair, I still take complete responsibility for. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm telling you why it happened when I talk about TikTok and YouTube shorts, but I'm not going to blame them. Absolutely. They're a company making money and they're monetizing the best they can. Fantastic. All of this is my fault. But the Bugatti on my drive is my fault. And the yacht is my fault. And the private jet's my fault. So it's all my fault. So I take the good with the bad. I take all responsibility for absolutely everything, including if a woman leaves me, if a woman stays, if I end up heartbroken, if I end up filled with rage, I take responsibility for that. If something happens to me that makes me enraged, I will take responsibility. Why has this happened to me? Why do I feel this way? How did I end up in this position? Is this healthy in this scenario? And sometimes it is. I've had scenarios in my life where I was prepared to die to protect somebody else, and I was enraged, and it was healthy. I've also had times where I'm in a room by myself, enraged, sitting there going, this is no good for anybody. I need to just calm the f down. So emotions are feedback, but stoicism is the ability to process them. And that's what you need to learn as a man. You're never going to be able to turn them off. You're going to feel them. You have to learn how to process them and turn them into a positive. It's energy. It's unlimited energy.
Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to another. And you have to look at that and understand that the sadness inside of you is energy. You can't destroy it, but you can convert it into something else which is constructive. And you just have to suck it up, buttercup, and get over it.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to do it. And obviously having an abundance of women makes that easier. But I wouldn't even put it that way. I'd say if you were with a woman and you lost her and you're now lonely and she's going to be moving on and you're absolutely utterly heartbroken and you're destroyed inside, I understand how difficult that is. But now you have genuine sadness inside of you, which is unlimited motivation for you to become a fucking beast, become an animal. And by the time you're finished becoming an animal, you won't care anymore. So if you really want to cure yourself, you just say, I'm going to get a six pack and I'm going to get bigger arms. And by the time my arms are this size and I have a six pack, then I'm going to think about that bitch. And you'll realize that you don't give a shit about her anymore. That's just the way the world works.
I'm saying that it's a very dangerous battlefield now. When you were saying, I feel sorry for the young people, so do I. It's hard now. Imagine being 15 with social medias and these kind of things. It's nuts. Imagine being a 19-year-old boy now. Every 19-year-old girl you're in love with is on Instagram dating 40-year-old billionaires. It's crazy. And I'm saying that a lot of the men, who are the most heartbroken, who are most upset, people underestimate how important the relationship between a man and a woman is in the masculine life. I can tell you right now, you can give a man everything, but if he's arguing with his chick, his head's fucked. His head's fucked. It doesn't matter. It's so important. And I'm saying the best chance you have to negate these things is experience with women. You need a degree of experience as a man. Women innately want it. You see a woman who's unhappy with her boyfriend because he's simping or he's acting stupid or he always just chases me around. Women will tell you themselves, he's boring, It's true. You need to get to the point where you have enough abundance and you've been about the game long enough that you can say, that's a shit test, she's playing games, goodbye. You have to. And I'm saying the only way you can do that is with experience and abundance. So as a man, you need to do your thing, get to a point where you meet the one and settle down. But to sit and say that period where you do your thing isn't necessary, I completely disagree with that. I think you're gonna end up wrecked if you don't do it. In the modern world, with Instagram, with this, with everyone after his chick, when he's Joe Schmo and I'm messaging her, it's over. And I'm saying the best advice you can give the guy is when he gets his heart broken and he's truly destroyed is you need to become a man that women don't leave. So you gotta get in the gym, and you gotta get more important, and you gotta get more women, and you just gotta become that guy. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
I say this all the time. I say that the biggest periods of transformation in my life is when everything was going wrong. When my life was going good, I'm not a hedonistic person. I don't do drugs. I don't gamble. I don't do prostitutes. I don't do anything that hedonistic. But I'll certainly go on the yacht with a bunch of women I know and chill and have some vodkas and that kind of thing. When life's smooth, then it's semi-hedonistic, pretty relaxed. But when I make my biggest progress, when I really change who I am and change the world, that's when everything's f***ed. When things go wrong, or I'm feeling things I don't want to feel, or bad things are happening, that's when I'm like, okay, I currently cannot sleep. I've completed the day's tasks. I've tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. More shit has to get done. That's when the amazing things happen in my life. When I was heartbroken, when I was whatever, well, everyone's been heartbroken. I can't remember a specific example. I hit the gym harder, right? If something goes wrong with your payment processor, that's when you get inventive. That's business, right? That's when you get inventive. So all the bad things that happen to you as a man, if you're stoic, you get to take unlimited energy. Heartbreak is unlimited energy. So is depression. So is rage. So is sadness. All these negative emotions they tell you to collapse behind. It's like, people talk like, Bruce Lee says, be like water. And people see that as be fluid and just go with the flow. I disagree. If you're like water, you're necessary for life. You are scary when you're enraged. You're powerful. You're beautiful when you're calm. You're so many things when you're like water, right? So if I'm enraged, it's like water behind a dam. You just got to put the dam in place. And you got to get the turbo, the hydroelectrics put in. Don't tsunami your life. Put the energy somewhere. And this is the most beautiful thing about it, because people message me all the time like, oh, but Tate, you don't know how sad I feel. No, incorrect. I know exactly how sad you feel. The difference is I used it. And you're sitting here still crying, some random guy on email for the third month in a row. That's the difference between you and me, my friend. I was becoming a world champion kickboxer. I got to a point, people often talk about depression and say I don't understand it. I will say, listen, there's been times in my life where I was fully functional as an adult. I would never label myself depressed because I don't believe in the idea of labeling myself in a negative, because I don't believe in things that take power from me, which we'll talk about in a second. But there's been times in my life where I didn't give a fuck if I lived or died. There's been times in my life where I went to fight a man for money, and I didn't give a shit if I lost and even woke up again. I had nothing worth living for. I was brokey, didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have any money, got a 2-day call to fight some world champion, had to lose 10 kilos in 2 days, had nothing else going for me, got on a plane to Dagestan and won. There's been times I've done that. By all conventional wisdom, I was depressed. I was suicidal, but I was just like, no, I don't give a shit. And that's when I was at my most powerful. Now if I get that call, I'm like, bro, I got a new car outside and shit. I'm not
going to Dagestan, bro.
Wait, going to where? Sorry, how much money? Nah. But back then I was like, yeah, cool. Who is he? Oh, this guy. All right, fine. I didn't give a I was most powerful when I was sad, when I was depressed, when all these things. And the difference was the framing.
So can we go back to the heartbreak shit? Like when we're, how old were you when you dealt with your first heartbreak, and like how long did it take for you to get over it? And anyone that's listening right now that's going through a heartbreak or a similar situation, what do you have advice for them, and how do you get over it?
It's actually very interesting, the masculine experience, because I like to believe that most men on the planet have lived a semi-similar timeline. Even me, Lord of Earth, Top G, the most interesting, compendious, smart, funny, tall, strong, and brilliant human to possibly ever live, has been through a very similar timeline to a worm like you. And it's quite an interesting thing. Yes, you are a worm. Be quiet. Listen. You're a worm! Shut up! It's very interesting that all of us as men experience a very similar human paradigm, and that is that most men are born and you're not important, and then you go to school and you fall in love with some girl in school and she f***s someone else, and then you realize that all the 19-year-olds you want when you're 19 are with older dudes because they have cars or whatever, and you go through this experience of getting your heart broken and losing your girlfriend, etc., and many men latch on to some average or accept they're gonna have their heart broken forever, but some men decide to become so big and important and strong and irreplaceable that they never have to suffer heartbreak again. Because every man deals with heartbreak and deals with sadness, but how you use that energy is the differentiator between humans, right? You are feeling the same pain that many men have felt. I, as a man, every man out there has had his heart broken and understands how difficult it is as a man. We all know how hard it is to see the girl you love getting plowed. Yeah, getting plowed by someone else, like you have to deal with now. You can log into our OnlyFans and see it. But, it's true. It's boy, girl, that's why you start the account. But, the difference between me and you, and perhaps some of the other men out there, is that certain men take that anguish and take that sadness and understand that energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted, and use it to build themselves into a man of absolute standing and power, as opposed to sitting around off like you just told me you do. You are a waste. You are wasting your energy. Heartbreak is unlimited motivation. If I was heartbroken, it's been a very long time, but if I was heartbroken, I'd be in the gym every morning. I'd be a beast. I'd be running. I'd be working. I couldn't sleep. I'd be an absolute animal. And you're heartbroken, and what are you doing? Off like a fucking dumbass. Of course I'm right. So I understand very, very well heartbreak. Every man does. This is what's so amazing about the masculine experience. Even the Top G and a worm have lived a very similar-ish timeline. The difference is, as a man, you must build yourself into a man of credibility, which means to build yourself into a man of standing, we all start in a fairly similar position. I became me through tedious, arduous, difficult, never-ending work. You are wasting your time. And by the time you finally realize I'm right, you're gonna be too old for anyone to give a shit. Because at your age, how old are you again? 20-something?
22.
22. At 22, I could split the Earth's core! You should be so strong! You know why God made your girl leave you? Because he wanted to show you that you ain't shit. He wanted to show you that your little Twitch stream and the arrogance you've built with your stupid social media accounts controlled by the Matrix, and that your little dumb parties with Instagram hoes and whatever else you're doing means nothing. He wanted to show you that you are human and you're fallible and that you're very replaceable. So he decided to make you fall in love with a girl, and he decided to make her leave you to show you that you are a dickhead. Now it is your job to look at the board, understand what's happened, say, I understand God, I deserve that. I'm glad she left me and I'm sad because I am a dickhead, and do something about it. Because if you refuse, if you ignore God's message, next time you fall in love with a bitch, guess what he's gonna do?
What?
He's gonna make her leave you to remind you once again that you are a dickhead. Every single man out here, if you're upset that your girl's leaving you, God is reminding you that you aren't worth shit. You need to get up and work so hard that even in the eyes of God, he is proud of you. God loves his creations, which show him their true potential and beauty. By getting up and trying your absolute best and becoming a man of moral standing, he will reward you and bless you endlessly. If you continue to be a dickhead, God will remind you you're a dickhead. So God just broke your heart on purpose to show you that the way you're living your life and the man you are simply are not good enough. What have you changed since? Nothing. fucking nothing. You think God's going to forgive you for no reason? You think God's going to go, oh, that little dickhead Aiden, it's fine. He hasn't learned his lesson. He hasn't changed. He isn't even trying very hard. He's not up early in the gym. He ain't doing nothing. It's fine. Let's just let him fall in love and let's make sure the girl doesn't fuck someone else on OnlyFans this time. No, sir! This is going to repeat endlessly. It's a cycle that will not fucking change until you take the message from God and become the man you're supposed to be.